I'm sure by now, looking at this picture and the title of the video, many of you have already heard about this story already. And let me just tell you right now, this shit right here does not look good at all. I've heard many people give their commentaries about this situation, and now I'm gonna give mine. And it's something written in an article that I'm about to read that almost leads me to believe why this happened, because I refuse to believe this just happened on impulse and that this was just a random attack. 20 teenagers, 20 boys attacking this one girl and taking her shoes and her debit card and anything else that they may have taken and forcing her to get medical treatment. This was not a random attack, in my honest opinion. I think she was targeted, and for a reason. Reasons we may not know as of right now, because I just refuse to believe this was just a random attack. But that's just me. So I'm going to go ahead and read the article. A 15-year-old girl was brutally beaten and robbed by a group of almost 20 teenagers after they chased her around Brooklyn, New York. Now look at that. It says chased her around Brooklyn, New York. They not randomly come up to her and beat her, because they could have did that to anybody. But they said they chased her around Brooklyn, which means she was being followed for a while until they finally caught her. The NYPD released footage of the horrific attack, which was captured by security cameras. Authorities said the incident began around 4:10 p.m. Thursday when the victim was approached by a group of unidentified individuals in front of the 216 Utica Avenue. It's unclear what started the altercation, but surveillance footage shows the group of young teenagers chased after the girl until she fell on the sidewalk. Then nearly 20 individuals jumped onto, kicked, and punched her several times as the group swarmed around her. As the suspects fled the scene, one of them stole this girl's sneakers off her feet while she was on the ground. Her phone and debit card were also stolen. The girl was transported to NYC Health and Hospital's Kings County to be treated for head trauma and bruises. Authorities believe Thursday's assault could be in retaliation for a previous slight, but the details are unclear. That's why I said I truly believe it was a target. Like they specifically went after this girl for reasons that are unknown at this time. This is not the first time we've heard situations where someone has done something to one person, then word travels, and then they go after that one person in a mob mentality, in a pack mentality, to go after them and feel they got to deal with them accordingly. And if this is true that they're getting after her or going after her for something that she did, she must have done something very serious for them to all come after her like that, instead of just the one person she may have done something wrong to go after her. So for them to go after her in a group like that, it must have been very serious. But like they said, the details are still unclear, although I still believe she was a target. This is sickening video of a 15-year-old girl viciously attacked by a group of school children, he wrote on Twitter. Assistant Chief Jeffrey Madry of the NYPD Brooklyn North. One young man takes the sneakers right off the unconscious victim's feet. The teenager is in the hospital recovery. We cannot allow this behavior in our community, he added. According to the NYPD CompStat 2.0, there are 2,499 robbery reports this year so far, making a 34% increase from 2019. And then it says, anyone with information regarding the identity of the individuals, then they give like a Crime Stoppers hotline. This whole situation is just mind-boggling, to say the least. The reason why I say it does not look good is because despite what other details come out about why she was attacked the way she was, and she could have been in the wrong for all we know, or there could have been a reason why they went after her, it's not like only one person went after her. They could have just treated this thing as like an isolated incident. Although this still could be seen as that because it was just that one person. It's not like they were going around the city doing this to a whole bunch of people. But the fact of the matter is that it was 20 boys attacking one girl. And then, you know, they catch them. They're not going to only get them on assault, because this is clear assault right here, but they're also going to get them on whoever robbed her on theft, because they said her shoes were taken, her debit card was taken, and her phone. So they're going to definitely, when they catch them, and they most likely will, even though it's probably going to take a little while to get them, because that's 20 boys they got to look for. They are going to definitely pay heavily for their crimes. but they probably don't care. They probably don't give a damn. That's why I want more information about this, especially what led them to wanting to do this. Because there's only a small handful of things that will make a group like this attack one person. And one of them that comes to mind, and I hope that it's not true, is it possible that maybe this girl may have given one of those boys something? And y'all know what I mean when I say that. That'll make anybody snap. But we don't know what the details are. And right now, because everything is so fuzzy, everyone's going to really hone in on the 20 boys that attacked her. I've even seen comments saying, I don't care what this girl did. It was not anything worth 20 boys coming to attack her. I said, you can't really go off of that. Because then what you're going to do is you're going to allow her to kind of slip out the back door. We need to find out what happened to lead up to this. If it was something so petty, then definitely then it was real stupid. But if it was something more serious, like passing on something, and you know what I mean, I don't have to go into details, then I can see why they did what they did. Because like I said, it's no way 20 boys are just going to attack one person for no reason. It has to be a reason behind that. And they said that they chased her around Brooklyn, which means they were specifically looking for her. And based on the footage that I was looking at, it looks like they I'm looking at the footage right now. All I see is they caught her, and then it's like one person knocked her over, and then all of a sudden a whole bunch just came in and they started to beat on her. Like I said, it has to be a solid, legit reason as to why they did it, because they didn't just attack her for no reason. But even if they do find out what it is, because of the optics of it all and they caught it on surveillance, it's definitely not going to look good for them. They're definitely going to get hit with some charges. And they're going to put her in the sympathetic department, despite what she may or may not have done. But I'm going to see if I can try to keep up with this story, because this is one of those, it's an incomplete story. I would love to know. I need to know what led to this. Like, what did this girl do for them to jump her like that? Because like I said, there's no way they would have just jumped her the way that they did and took her stuff for no reason. It has to be an underlying heavy reason to why they did this. It has to be. But y'all let me know what y'all think about the story down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Have your notifications turned on, and I will talk to you in the next one. I wanted to come back on here and give an update pertaining to this whole situation involving these boys beating this girl in New York. So I just pretty much gave you a premise of the story in the first part of this video. Then I had to download the video and put it onto my Sony Vegas Pro, and that's the only way I can edit the video and add more commentary to it. But basically, this new article has come out. It came out on March 7th at 4:22 p.m. on the New York Daily News, where they were talking to the mother of one of the boys that were charged. Since the video that I have done already, they have gotten 5 of the boys so far out of the, I want to say, 15 that they're looking for. So they're still looking for some others as of right now. This sounds like a video I'm going to have to continue adding more stuff onto up until it's time for me to actually upload it. And they talked to the mother of one of the boys, and she just basically said that she was very pissed about the attack on this girl. Now I'm going to go ahead and read the article and see what else we can find out, because there's actually some more information there as well. The mother of one of the teens charged in the caught on camera beatdown of a 15-year-old Brooklyn girl defended her son as a good kid Saturday, but admitted she was furious with him. When I saw the video, I literally wanted to kill him with my own hand, said Donna Howell, age 42, while waiting on her son's arraignment in the Brooklyn criminal court. I was very, very pissed off. Howell's 14-year-old is one of the 5 teens between the ages of 14 and 17 who were charged with robbery and gang assault after turning themselves in at the 77th Precinct Station House Friday night. He didn't want to go at first, and I said, no, you're going to go. Now you're going to turn yourself in. Howell then left the house to run an errand and found her son was gone when she got back. He had just walked and turned himself into the police. 4 of 5 suspects who turned themselves in were arraigned in Brooklyn criminal court on Saturday night, all of them accompanied by their mothers. Now listen to that. Very interesting. 4 of the 5 teens of suspects who turned themselves in were arraigned in Brooklyn criminal court on Saturday night. All of them were accompanied by their mothers. Not a dad in sight. Just thought I had to put that out there. I thought that was very interesting. The Daily News is withholding their names because of their ages. Judge Deepa and Becker, and I probably messed up their name, denied prosecutors' request for $10,000 bail on each suspect and instead released the boys on their own recognizance. However, the judge imposed curfews on each suspect and ordered them to stay away from the victim. None of the suspects knew the victim, lawyers said during the arraignment hearings. 14 more suspects are sought in the attack. Surveillance video of the assault sparked condemnation from elected officials. I have never seen in my lifetime this kind of incident where young men perpetrate this kind of violence on an innocent woman. City Councilman Robert Cornegy from Brooklyn said Saturday, I remember growing up under mob mentality in Brooklyn. There were still rules, and the rules said that women were untouchable. Now, see, this is what they're about to set up. This is the precedents they're about to set up. You know how they love to throw the toxic masculinity thing onto black males all the time? They're going to kick it off with this. Meanwhile, if you rewind back a couple years ago, there was I want to say he was Hispanic. I'm not sure if he was Puerto Rican or Dominican, and they called him Junior, and he was killed brutally with a machete for what allegedly happened between him and another girl, but they went after the wrong boy, so they pretty much killed the wrong boy. Anyway, those guys, they caught all of them, and they all are serving life sentences right now as it stands. Now, I would like to know if this was a mob mentality where the women were attacking a guy, would they have had the same thing? Case in point, one of the Strag Tales videos I just recently did. Now, it's very questionable about whether those 3 Gross sisters were actually women, because many of us are saying those were most likely men, but they said they were women. Now, that was a mob mentality, even though it was only 3 of them, and they attacked the man, but you don't even really hear about that story right now. So I'm like, if you're going to do it for one, you got to do it for all. But because these were teenage boys who were all black, happened to be black, they are going to stay on this one. They are going to hunker down on this one, especially since they just had the situation where you had the 2 black teens in New York who allegedly killed this palm-colored college-age girl back in December who was 18. But do you know what's starting to happen? You have this situation here. You had the one I just talked about with the 2 black boys with that one palm-colored girl down in New York. Then you had the 5 teens that broke into that girl's house down in, what was it, Mississippi, and killed her in her house. Do y'all see what they're setting up for? Remember what I was talking about with, you know, the propaganda and everything and the numbers that they love to put out there? This is what's fueling it right here. This is what a certain sector wants. They are going to fuel this to the brim. I'm telling you right now. And it's only March. We are only in the 3rd month of 2020. We still have the rest of the year to go. This is going to be one interesting year. I'm telling you. Surveillance video of the assault sparked condemnation from elected officials. Okay, I read that part. The video shows the 15-year-old girl being chased to the corner of Utica Avenue and Sterling Place on Thursday afternoon before being knocked to the ground. A horde of teens then descend upon her, repeatedly kicking her and punching the victim as she curls up to avoid the blows, the video shows. The attackers stole the girl's sneakers, cell phone, and debit card before scattering. The victim's neighbors describe her as a quiet girl who lives with her mother and sister. Yet again, no father present. So do y'all see the pattern here? It seems to me, all of these individuals involved have been raised by single mothers, and they're going to run on that narrative too. Watch. She doesn't get in trouble. She doesn't deserve that, said 13-year-old neighbor Jacob Black. She's a black basketball player. That's all she does. She goes to school and comes home. She's quiet, said a next-door neighbor who declined to share her name. Those were animals. I can't see how those young boys did that to her. Howell said her son, the middle child of 3 boys, had little interaction with police, and she was shocked to hear of his alleged involvement. I don't know what else I can say to them, the victim's parents, except I'm so sorry. I feel very bad for her, she said. I'm a woman, and if he had a sister, he would never want anyone to treat her like that. Now, one other thing I'm hearing, and I don't know if I read it in here or not because I was reading this story kind of fast, is what led to this. Now, allegedly, what happened was this girl who they attacked got into some kind of altercation with one of these guys, I believe sister or sibling or something like that. And she told them about what happened. And then that's when they decided to go after her. My thing is this: if this girl had an issue with another girl, it should not have taken all of those guys to go after her, in my honest opinion. But how many times have we seen over the years where you've had people who, you know, when we was kids, we heard this a lot. You had the person that was picking on a girl at school and they were like, oh, I'm going to tell my brother on you and this, that, and the third. And they told on them. And then all of a sudden this happened, just like the situation with that boy Junior a couple years ago in New York, where allegedly he had did something to this girl, but it turned out it wasn't him. But they told somebody, a family member, and they all went and they got him. And I believe all of them were in a gang, and they came in there with machetes and everything and pretty much hacked this boy to death. So as you can see, the mob mentality is real, no matter who it's coming from. And it can always be told based on, and it can always be a lie for all we know. And notice in both of these stories right here, it all started with what a girl or a female said. The only difference is in this story right here, luckily the girl did not die and she didn't suffer life-altering injuries. Of course, this is going to leave her very traumatized. This would traumatize anybody, because it's like you just got jumped by a group of people all at once and then you got your stuff stolen at the same time. But like I said, unlike the other story where the boy ended up being killed, but the same precedents happen here, where it started off with what a girl or a female said to one boy that led into a group. And then this was the consequence, or this was the solution after the fact. But like I said earlier, these boys right here, they gonna be tied up in court for a while. Most definitely. And they probably not doing anything to these boys right now because they're waiting to get the other ones before they can go forward, instead of having working on a set here and a set here and a set here. They're trying to get them all at once. And like the surveillance, it shows their faces. Like in some images, you can actually see their faces in the surveillance footage. It's not all blurred out. The only persons whose face for sure is blurred out is the girl. They are absolutely not going to show her face. And of course, we know why they're not going to do that. But as for the boys, there's cameras set up everywhere and it catches their faces like a good probably almost all of them. You even see the face of the boy who has her shoes, the one who stole her shoes. And you can see him walking down the street with the other guys when they scatter with the shoes in her hand. So they're definitely going to get him on robbery, on theft. And whoever took her debit card and her cell phone, when they find out who has it, that's an additional charge, unless they had charged all of them with the same thing. I think one of the biggest shocking things is the fact that they actually let them go home and said that they are pretty much they're on a curfew and to just stay away from the victim. Now, they also said that this was a random attack. They said that the girl didn't know who these guys were and that these guys didn't know who they were. But something, like I said in the first part of my commentary, had led them to this girl. They had to have a description of who she was. And like I said, it all goes back to whoever told them about what allegedly happened between the two of them to lead them to her. So they need to talk to that girl who said that she has some kind of issue with her. Because if that is true, she's the one that kicked all of this off. And it's crazy. Historically, you've seen that a lot of conflicts that have happened, especially when it involved a lot of guys, has always kicked off with something that some female, no matter how old she is, has said that someone else has done to her. Now, like I said, if this was an issue that was supposed to be between her and this other girl, then why didn't she go and handle it? Or maybe if it was a sibling thing, have her and just the sibling go and deal with it. What made them what made it be a situation where a whole bunch of guys had to go after her? That's why they're saying that this thing looks real gang related. I've even seen people say, do you think that she's being initiated into a gang? Because you know, with gang initiations, that's what they do. They jump people into the gang, and that's their, I guess you can say this, them rolling out the red carpet. That's them welcoming them in. Because based on the timestamp, this jumping only lasted like a good minute, or well, maybe not even that. It wasn't long. It wasn't long at all. But like I said, this is going to be an ongoing investigation, so people are going to be following this one closely. So now I guess you can tack this on to the many stories that I'm gonna have to keep people updated on, because this is crazy right here. But as of right now, this is all I have to say. Hopefully, if there's any additional information, hopefully it'll be ready by the time I get ready to upload this video. And if there's more information that comes out afterwards, then of course, I'll update you along the way, like I've done with my other commentaries that have required me to constantly give updates as time goes on.